I did include a lot of annotations in the last episode, but there's a lot that I gotta prepare for the next steps, movers, and what have you. You know the drill. I'll tell you the full story when everything's all done. Still, and not just with that, but the fruition of my other goals, even the ones that seem like particularly tall order. I mean, what am I trying to prove to anybody? Except to myself, if anyone. But nonetheless, maybe I'll be back tomorrow. I didn't even have the chance to put any points together about what I want to cover this time around. Yes, street credible. As far as a few potentially sensitive topics, with more than just the act of, well, bringing your goals to manifestation on purpose. And the most controversial relationship goal of all time, yet most popular. We will be covering that for the first time in a little while. And not only that, but in the context of polyamory and such relationships. How certain concepts surrounding bringing to manifestation the goal of having at least one committed, loving relationship, if not more. So stay tuned for that. I'll have to get all my bullet points together. God, what is with my pronunciation today? I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. Just making sure I get all my T's dotted, T's crossed, and I's dotted. What the Excuse me. Nonetheless, T's crossed and I's dotted. You know the drill. So I've been spending a lot of time catching up on rest after all that, because it used up my spoons and that of one of my regular besties' spoons too. Even though, as I stated in the last description, it still worked out in the end. And I guess that'll be all for now. Maybe I'll get back with you later tonight, or perhaps tomorrow, if I have the spoons. Until then, that was quite a double last night. The last shift finished at about 1:10 at midnight in the morning, and the shift before it finished at 7:45. Well, I do have some bullet points prepared for tonight's, well, part. But I'm gonna explore of course, we know the deal, since I did promise to discuss a couple controversial topics. I'm also hearing the cicadas going off, so excuse my distraction. But I'm exploring how polyamory can shape certain journeys with this kind of thing. For example, if you're poly, you might potentially call in additional partners while still having that particular one in mind, for example. And there are a couple more main points, which I will get to in a little bit. It's been a while since I did this while lying in bed, but here we are. There's been a lot cropping up. And yeah, it's true, we always influence everything. From hearing certain details about how my mother was found passed away had led me to the conclusion that I should have tried to call her or something so that she wouldn't have fallen and hit her head. But how were we to know? How were we to know? How was I supposed to know? In the midst of pursuing my manifested goals, I have been feeling the weight of it all. Yes, I continue treating the fruition of my goals as still being inevitable on the one hand, and yet on the other hand have also been resentful and in some ways hateful of the old self that made some of them into such tall orders, or at least seemingly tall orders. You know, the ones that some people manage to bring about to fruition despite seemingly impossible circumstances, despite I'm not even talking about domestic violence here. No, no, no. I'll share the full story once all is said and done still. But I'm talking about circumstances that can make the order even taller than it needs to be. Maybe one or the other has said or said something that they shouldn't have said to their loved one, partner, best friend, family member, spouse, what have you. And it led to a nasty breakdown or worse. And then one side, then both sides do the work to turn the tracks around, usually starting with one. Some it took months, others it took years. But the ones that sustain themselves, more and more foundation work was done in order to ensure the maintenance of their fruition. But that is a tale for a different time. I'll have to put a link for these nails in the description. But these are the first generation of gel tips if you're starting from this clip. If I didn't mention it in the last clip on Thursday, or perhaps even last week, but these are the first generation of the gel tips from E-Nail Couture with Street Credible on the top. That being said, on the way to afternoon service, hit with a flashback of looking at photos of my mother when I was cut out of her, and then flash image of a baby crying and shedding tears. Who knows that was about? Only God knows. Oh, there's Buddy. Here he is. Here he is. Oh, he's such a good boy. It's a baby. He is. Here he is. Cuddling everyone up, if you will. Whole lot, because sure, perhaps I could revise that later when and if I'm ready to, but there's no telling what kind of effects it can have now. I'm sure the possibilities remain infinite, yeah, but still. I still need to get to my bullet points. If I haven't already. And I'm gonna have to retouch my red. The red underneath. I got the calico trend going on. I might relighten this a bit more and keep the shadow root. But yeah, I guess that's all for now.